Good morning. This is Julie Tillis, and welcome to Hope from the Well. Our guest today is Women at the Well and New Life Program Director Tonya Gambrell. Good morning, Tonya.
Good morning, Jules.
We are so glad to have her with us today. Before we get started, I just want to share about some of the things we still have going on up here at the Well. First, we do creative evangelism, and that is something that Tonya is also in charge of, and that is, do you want to share a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, creative evangelism is just a way for our ladies to share their testimony. They do that in song, they write poems, they do skits, all kinds of things. So if you would like for them to come to your church to share, not to glorify our past, but to talk about what God is doing in their lives, and to, maybe you have a loved one that is in addiction and you need some hope, or you know somebody that does. I know it gives me hope for my family members every time that I watch the ladies do it.
So give us a call. Also, we still have the Madewell Retreat Center, and they have a few open dates for the summer, and I believe it's $50 per person per night, and it can house sleep up to 9 women. You can, even if you don't sew, you can come and do it. They've had people just do Bible studies, or if you just want to come and relax with some of your friends, we all need that. So just give us a call, and we would love to get you set up with that. And then also the ladies are still making the memory bears. If you have a loved one that's passed, they make memory bears, memory t-shirt quilts, pillows. And they also do the little dots and dogs. So any of those things, if you would like to do any of those, just give us a call at 423-745-0010. We'd love to get any of those things set up for you. And so I'm just going to let Tonya go ahead and share what the Lord has given her.
So I wanted to talk a little bit this morning about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Many of us have heard this story our whole lives. For those of you that hadn't, so the king was Nebuchadnezzar, and he told them that they had to worship this idol, or they were going to be thrown into the fiery furnace. And so that kind of makes me think, what are the idols in your life? You know, are you like King Nebuchadnezzar? Do you have some idols in your life? I think we probably all do, without just staying on top of that kind of thing, being... the word I'm looking for, Julie.
Diligent.
Being diligent to, not let our children, our jobs, those kind of things, even our ministries, become an idol in our lives. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they would not worship the idol, even though they were going to be thrown into the fires. Into the fire, they refused to worship the idol. They were devoted to God. And so King Nebuchadnezzar did just that. He bound them up. They were bound up, and then they were thrown into the fiery furnace. And they made it 7 times hotter too. But I've grown up in church my whole life. I've heard the story so many times. But in Daniel 3:24 and 25, I think. It says, Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he rose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, Did we not cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, True, O king. Look, he answered, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they are not hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Oh, I love that so much. They went in bound, but here they are in the middle of this fire. 3 of them went in, but there's a 4th, and we know and believe that's Jesus. God is with them. But here's the part that gets me every time, because I never ever even thought about this. So in verse 26, then Nebuchadnezzar went near the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke, saying, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out and come here. they had to be told to come out of the fire because they were so fixed on Jesus. Man, I want to be like that.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
I so want to be like that. Y'all, we get so caught up in what we're going through, in the fires of life, whining and complaining, and not thinking of the fact that if we're obedient to God, we're free. Sitting in the middle of that fire, they were already free. They were not on the other side of it. God didn't wait till they were on the other side of the fire to loose them from the thing that bound them. And it's the same for us. We feel like we're bound by something, but when we are devoted on Jesus and we're so fixed on Him, they didn't even want to leave the fire. I want to be willing to sit in the fire, as long as Jesus is right there with me. If that's where God wants me, sometimes it's the fire that gets us where we need to be, I think we forget that, God never promised us that it was going to be a bed of roses, that we were just going to walk through this life. But it's the fire that changes us and refines us. And I think of some of the things I went through in my own life, addiction, divorce, having family members that you're just praying fervently for to come to the knowledge of Christ, these things keep me close to God. And that's where I want to be. That's where we should all want to be. And if it's the fire that keeps me there, then I want to be there, that I'm willing to do it. Now, do I forget sometimes?
Yes, we do. Yes,
we have to remind each other sometimes, that God allows us to, He doesn't put us there, but He allows us to go through these things to make us better. And we get better to help someone else.
That's right. I love it.
They come out of the fire not even smelling like smoke.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah. They were not burned. Their clothes were not burned. Their hair was not singed. They came out not even smelling like smoke. So that tells me if I sit in this fire and I stay focused on Jesus, that when He does take me by the hand and walk me out of it, walk me through it, it's going to be so much better, And sometimes those things that we have to go through, we feel like we're just going to die. Yeah. I've been there this last year. I really thought I was just going to die. I didn't think I was going to make it, It's one of the most difficult times of my life. And I'm sure there'll be more, But I have to remember that, our job is to stay focused on Jesus. And whatever happens on the other side, I'm free from that.
That's right.
I'm free from the consequences of the fire. The Lord just kind of showed me that as I was walking through what I was walking through this last year, God said to me clearly, you just do what I've told you to do. Mm-hmm. And the outcome is up to me, not you. And we just have to accept and know that God has the best plan for us, His plan is exceedingly abundantly better than anything I can ever ask or even imagine. That's kind of crazy, Mm-hmm. But that's God. That's the God that we serve. So whatever it is that you're going through, let's just get rid of the idol. Let's not make the thing an idol.
Right.
And I think we do that sometimes. We sit and whine and moan and talk about it and, oh, this is going to kill me. And sometimes it feels like that. But our feelings, don't dictate how we live.
No, they don't.
There's freedom in living beyond your feelings.
That's right.
It's okay to feel how we feel, and God cares about that. But I believe he cares more about us intentionally walking in the freedom he's given us. You know, we're free. Right in the middle of that fire, he set us free from the outcome of whatever it is. And we just have to focus on him, be obedient to him, be obedient to his word, and do the next right thing.
And then you're going to come out not even smelling like where you were.
Yes.
And
yes.
We get to see that every day.
Yes, it's really amazing.
Because, I mean, well, you're a testimony of it, so am I. That
yes.
We don't, you know, when we're talking to the ladies and stuff, and they see us now, they're like, I can never imagine you. Like, I don't know if any of you ever seen Tonya's, some of your before pictures. I'll just say that. It doesn't look like the same person because that's what God has done in your life.
Yeah.
You don't look like that person anymore. You're not that person anymore.
Yeah. 20 years of drug addiction will nearly kill you. Mm-hmm. But God will turn that all around.
He does.
You know. And without that experience, I wouldn't understand just how good he is.
Yes.
I believe. I'm not grateful for the pain
well, no.
and things like that it caused, you know, other people, my children, my family. But man, I'm so grateful that I know and live in the goodness of God, you know.
And that he has brought you out, and he was with us through every step. He's with you in the fire.
He is. Yeah, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's freedom.
Yes.
You know, the Spirit of God was with them in that fire, just like He'll be with us in the middle of whatever it is. Our focus just has to be on Jesus, you know. We have to keep our focus there, and He'll do the rest. You know,
we try to work it out so many times.
Yes, we try so hard. Yeah, I try to fix it. I work myself to death. Mm-hmm. I mean, you name it. You know, mm-hmm. I'll sit and make up ideas of, okay, how am I going to get them to believe? You know, I can't. That's mm-hmm. not my job. Mm-hmm. That's the Holy Spirit's job. That's God's job. My job is to be obedient and to pray for them, because yes. God tells us that in His Word. Yes. To love them, mm-hmm. Even to set boundaries yes. with whatever that is, you know, and trust that God's going to do the rest. Mm-hmm. And trust His timing. How hard is that?
We just keep checking our watch. You there yet? You there yet?
Yeah. God, where are you? Where are you? Well, He's right here. He's right with us. You know, I can't tell you how many times I've said, Lord, I feel like you've just abandoned me. Mm-hmm. But I know that that's not true.
That's right.
And He cares. He wants to hear those things, you know. But we have to sometimes remembering things He's done in the past. That could be another hope from the well, Julie.
There you go.
Remembering our loaves.
That's right. Well, look, Tonya, thank you so much for sharing with us. I know this was some of the stuff that she shared at our women's conference back in May. Just amazing, because we are all set free. Once we have given our life to Jesus, He's with us through everything. Thank you so much for sharing.
Happy to do it.
Yes, ma'am. And so we're almost out of time. I just want to remind you that we do have our one of our annual fundraisers coming up, the Camel Walk. We'll be sending out letters within the next month or so to support one of the ladies or all the ladies for $25 each, or $300 for all the ladies. We will be having the Camel Walk on Saturday, August 30th at 11 a.m. is it still at Athens Regional Park?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. And so, if you get one of those, or you can always just call and donate, or just email us, however you want to do it, or send us a Facebook Messenger. If you are watching this, if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that way you can get updates about any upcoming new posts, and like us on Facebook. And we just want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your constant support of this ministry. And just to remember that if you have Jesus in your life, you will always have hope.
Amen.
Thank you.